kila mwezi, japo kampuni inayokupa huduma za bima bado itawajibika kukulipa faida unayostahili katika chaguo hili. Pata bima ili kuhakikisha yote yatakuwa sawa.
And a very good evening to you. This is Easy Friday. My name is Shiksha, Arora, of course, with my co-anchor, John Kago. You can always find us on hashtag Easy Friday on social media at Shiksha Arora, at John_Kago_M, at KBC Channel 1. Hope you're feeling good this Friday.
All right, bringing you an update of the news that's been shaping up, and of course, keeping tabs with the events that happened in Masimba, Kajiado. The latest is that the president is ordering investigations into that particular case. Other news are shaping up. IEBC has been busy clearing all note of candidates ahead of the August general election. Tomorrow, the deputy president will have a date with the IEBC on Sunday as leader Raila Odinga. And of course, other news has been shaping up today. Business, sports, as well a bit later. But first things first, here's an aerial view of what we've lined up for you. These are the highlights. President Uhuru Kenyatta orders investigations into the death of 4 people in Masimba, Kajiado County.
We will not interfere with elections. Cabinet Secretaries Dr. Fred Matiang'i and Joe Mushero assure Kenyans.
All right, and in My Culture tonight, that's the My Culture edition, we feature the Ogieks and their strong bond with forests.
And today's top story, President Uhuru Kenyatta has ordered immediate investigations into the death of 4 people in Masimba, Kajiado County.
Now, Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i, in issuing an apology to the families of the victims, said the president had tasked the security docket to ensure that all those injured receive proper medical attention.
The National Police has once again found itself at the heart of investigations after 4 people lost their lives in a street protest in Masimba along the Nairobi-Mombasa highway. The locals had staged the demos in response to an alleged human-wildlife conflict in the region. In the end, 4 people were left dead and scores injured after police opened fire. The government is tonight apologizing and investigations are underway to piece together the events that led to the deaths.
Ndugu zangu na dada, ninataka kuwaomba msamaha kama mtumishi wa serikali na binadamu na kiongozi na mzazi na ndugu na kama binadamu mwenzenu.
On Friday morning, the Independent Policing Oversight Authority announced that it had dispatched investigators to the region to ascertain whether the police had acted within the confines of the law. Area leaders appealed for calm, even as they urged the government that no stone is left unturned in efforts to ensure justice is served. The government will in the meantime impose a nighttime curfew in parts of Kerio Valley to deal with the runaway insecurity in the region. The recent spate of killings and the theft of livestock has prompted the government to look into prospects of complete disarmament to bring order and ensure the safety of locals and their property. Serafina Robi for Easy Friday.
Moving on to the next story, where 4 individuals who appeared before the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission on Friday seeking to be cleared for August 9th presidential race have been kicked out.
Well, the 4 who include Jeremiah Nyaga, James Kamau, Juliet Munyeti and Dorothy Kemunto will now have to kiss goodbye their ambition to seek the coveted office after failing to meet the seat requirements.
Saturday, Deputy President William Ruto will have a date with the commission, with Raila Odinga expected on Sunday. Take a look.
Their ambitions came down crashing, and even after having been given a second chance for others, luck was not on their side. For Jeremiah John Nyaga, his running mate was said to be a member of Chama Cha Uzalendo Party. The self-declaration form was also not stamped by EACC.
For those reasons, to reject your application for nomination.
He is not a member of CCU. I know that I can say that with great. He would not be here as an independent candidate if he was a member of a political party. So we do not know where that has come from.
Nyaga, however, failed to show up before the commission later in the day after requesting for a chance to rectify.
And so he stands disqualified.
James Kamau, who had appeared before IEBC on Thursday and given a chance to resubmit his application Friday, still did not sail through.
To give one last chance, don't let you down, please. Just transferring of my IDs to the Excel format has really knocked me out. Of course, it hurts like hell, my friend.
The youthful aspirant calling the rejection a plan to disenfranchise the youth. Another independent aspirant, June Juliet Munyeki, was not lucky either. Her efforts to plead with IEBC to grant her more time failed. The story was, however, different for Dorothy Kemunto, another independent aspirant. After realizing that it was a tall order, she threw in the towel.
We must accept that at this point, maybe it's time we take an honorable bow. We have a lot of time.
But Agano Party presidential aspirant David Mwaure Waihiga will know his fate Saturday, as IEBC had rejected his application on grounds that his supporters list had foreign documents not recognized by law.
Copies of Ethiopian documentation and birth certificates in your bundle, and Tanzanian foreign passports.
Meanwhile, IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati says the Commission has complied with all the conditions of the Supreme Court ruling that nullified the 2017 presidential election. 9 presidential aspirants have so far presented their presidential clearance documents before the IEBC, but only 2 have been cleared to kick off their presidential campaigns. On Saturday, the Deputy President is set to present his papers. Kamche Menza for Easy Friday at the Bomas of Kenya, Nairobi.
All right, now Mombasa County Jubilee Party Women Representative candidate Amina Abdallah has expressed confidence in clinching the representative's seat in the forthcoming elections.
Well, Amina spoke after being cleared by the IEBC to vie for that particular seat.
Amina Abdallah says she has the best ideas to improve the living standards of the women and residents of Mombasa County.
Pili tunaweza, na chama kiko imara, na tutadeliver.
Hazel Katana, who is vying for the Senate seat on a Jubilee Party ticket, called for a deeper understanding between allies in the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya alliance. In Meru County, County Women Representative Kawira Mwangaza has recorded a statement with the Directorate of Criminal Investigations over what she alleges to be a defamation and forgery case by a petitioner. And 2 Malindi parliamentary candidates who have been cleared by IEBC are calling on fellow politicians to conduct peaceful campaigns and shun divisive politics.
Safari hii tuhakikishe kwamba hakuna fujo, manake Malindi kila saa inajulikana kwamba kuna fujo wakati wa kura.
Meanwhile, Embu Governor Martin Wambora, who has been cleared to vie for the senatorial seat, has pledged to protect devolution if he wins the seat.
We would want this to be a campaign of ideas and proposals which every candidate is going to fulfill.
And Isiolo County IEBC returning officer Samuel Saki says failure to turn up for the verification exercise amounts to withdrawal from the race.
Ambayo wamepata vyeti vya kuweza kugombea kiti hicho cha Senate waweze kuuliza wafuasi wao wadumishe amani.
In Nyandarua County, the candidates who have been cleared to vie for various elective posts have promised to abide by regulations set by IEBC in the campaigns.
I urge all my competitors to just keep peace and keep their lanes.
The sentiments were echoed in Makueni County.
Tukiingia kwa ofisi, tutahakikisha kwamba kuna usawa wa hivi vikundi ambazo watakuwa wanapewa pesa. Kuna usawa wa kupata zile pesa.
This even as Nakuru women representative aspirant Agnes Njambi called on the electorate to elect development-oriented leaders.
Tafadhali tupatieni kura ndio tuweze kukua namba moja na niweze kuwahudumia vile nimepanga.
Isofar reporting for Easy Friday.
All right, now, Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i and his ICT counterpart Joe Mucheru have assured Kenyans that their ministries will not interfere with the August general election, but will support the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, that's the IEBC, in executing its mandate. Addressing a meeting of the clergy in Murang'a, the two cabinet secretaries said they have been preparing for the transition election since the year 2018 and are confident that the will of the people will prevail in a peaceful process.
With barely 2 months to the general election, Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i is assuring Kenyans of a peaceful transition. Speaking at a church function in Murang'a County, Matiang'i said his ministry has been preparing since 2018 and has the capacity to man all polling stations.
It's one thing when you're having an election when the president who's in office is defending his seat, because there's a modicum of tranquility at that particular time. But when it's a transitional election, there's a possibility it could be characterized by tension. And so President Kenyatta told us that one of the things he would not like to happen in his life is to preside over an acrimonious transition where the country falls apart. So I can tell you sincerely, as our leaders, we started this work in 2018-2019.
The Ministry of Interior has for the last 10 years increased the number of police officers by over 100,000 and added to its fleets of vehicles by over 2,700.
By and large, our investment in the security sector has yielded results. When we compare our data between where we were in 2017, at this time, 2 months to the voting day, and where we are today, 2 months to voting day, the level of what you would describe as security incidents, what we have now on our records is less than a quarter of what we had by this time in 2017.
ICT Cabinet Secretary Joe Mucheru assured Kenyans of a smooth transmission of election results, saying the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission had acquired requisite technology to cover all the polling stations.
I think the only concern I have is, as of yesterday, I learned that IEBC is giving access to other people to be able to know how many people are in that database. The chairman is on record saying that the register will be ready on June 9th. But now we are hearing that already people have access to this register and they can see who is moving where, even as we would like to get access.
The two cabinet secretaries met Anglican Church clergy to discuss the role of church in August 9th general election. Gisho Kiwashira, Easy Friday.
Now, Deputy President William Ruto has pledged to invest 100 billion shillings in projects aimed at creating jobs for the youth if elected president. Now, Ruto, who led a series of Kenya Kwanza rallies in Nairobi County, also said that his administration will focus on bringing down the cost of living to address the plight of the vulnerable in the society. Take a look.
Deputy President William Ruto and his Kenya Kwanza team pitched camp in Nairobi County
to popularize his bid to become the country's next president.
Nyinyi muko chonjo? Muko tayari?
In one of the stopovers in Ruai, the DP promised to tame the high cost of living, which he described as part of the biggest challenges the country is currently facing.
Mwaka huu na watangazia kwa mapenzi ya Mungu tutatengeneza serikali inaelewa shida ya mama mboga, na inaelewa shida ya mtu wa bodaboda, na inaelewa shida ya mtu wako na njaa.
Ruto pledging to invest 100 billion shillings in labor-intensive projects to create job opportunities if he succeeds in his 2022 State House bid.
Tunasema mwaka huu, kabla hatujafanya kazi ingine yoyote, tunaweka bilioni 100 kwa mambo ya agro-processing, value addition, manufacturing, housing, ndio tupange ajira ya hawa vijana wa Kenya. Wawe na ajira, waweke pesa kwa mfuko, wasimamie familia zao na watusaidie kujenga taifa la Kenya.
Part of his campaign promises for the residents of Nairobi included the establishment of 21 markets for small-scale traders.
Kwanza tunajenga soko 20 mpya ili wale watu wote wanahangaika na jua barabarani tuwapangie mahali watafanya biashara yao, na tutafute sheria ya kulinda biashara yao, na tuwapatie mikopo, pesa ya serikali ambayo haina interest, kwa sababu tumesema wera ni wera.
Sisi tunapanga kuongeza bilioni 4.2 ili kila ward tuweke 50 million shillings kwa biashara ya kina mama, watu wa soko, vinyozi, watu wa biashara ndogo ndogo. Sio ni sawa?
Leaders who accompanied the DP using the Nairobi campaign rallies to outline their vision to Kenyans if given the mandate.
Kura ya William Ruto ni ya kupunguza bei ya unga. Ukiamuka kupigia William kura ni kupunguza bei ya mafuta ya kukaanga chakula.
Na suluhisho ni nani? Ni nani? Ni nani? Ni nani?
From Kamulu to Ruai, then to Utawala, and finally to Mradi, the Kenya Kwanza Brigade traversed different parts of Nairobi as the leaders put their best foot forward to secure victory for the alliance in the upcoming polls. Reporting for Prime Edition from Utawala in Nairobi County, I am Safin Acheng Ouma.
All right, and with that, it's time for us to take our first commercial break, but we'll be back in just a moment. Now, Kago, do you know that there is a particular tribe that is very connected to the Mau forest, and they have a very strong bond that they share with it? So we're going to be highlighting that later on.
It's going to be interesting to watch that particular bit that comes your way every Friday. I wonder if today we're doing a social media weekly.
We'll find out.
There we are. We're back in a moment.
Kupata lazima nishike kama skiza tune yako. Bonyeza *811 *962 hash.
Lazima nishike mapema. Nisiposhika simu mapema utakasirika. Unajua mimi nikiwa mtu ya marathon najua niko na experience kabisa. Niko na experience. If you don't hurry, you will not break the record. Okay, wacha nishike simu.
Kupata lazima nishike, bonyeza *811 *962 hash. *811 *962 hash.
Let me not come back and find you filled my house with refugees.
Ama ndio maana hujaolewa.
I beg your pardon?
Wekuja kuna Jen?
Kamtafute kwa Christine.
Nenda kuna mzee.
Then do what's right by him. Or at least help him help himself.
Naweza kuona hapa kando kidogo. I have to see Baba Jen.
Hukutaweza kusaidia huyu?
Hey!
Unataka nikulani?
Wacha niende, hiyo laana ibilisi nipate.
Kuna ka interview naenda.
Basi ameelewa vibaya.
Yeye huwa asikizi.
Hata kama ni kibarua napata, si kazi ya maana. Ati gari na nyumba. Unataka tushindane, si ndio?
Wewe unakuwaga unafurahi sana ukiniona niko ido.
All right, and a warm welcome back to Easy Friday. Now, this is a tragic one where 4 people have been trapped in a pit latrine that they were digging at PCA Mokwa Secondary School, Githunguri, that's in Kiambu County. Our efforts to rescue the quartet have been struck since 3 p.m. Friday are ongoing. According to residents, the 4 are among 11 who had been contracted to dig the latrine, which was about 60 feet before the particular tragedy occurred earlier.
Contractor amepewa kazi na shule, ajenge choo, akaambiwa ashimbe shimo yenye futi 60, ameshimba hiyo futi 60, akaweka slabu jana, lakini hiyo slabu hata hakumpatia muda ndio hiyo kitu ikauke. Leo alikuja na watu yake ya kufanya kazi, wakakuja wakaanza kufanya partitioning, na hiyo partition wakati wako juu ya hiyo slab, hiyo kitu ikakave in. Watu wenye walikuwa wanafanya walikuwa 11, 4 wao ndio wameanguka chini, au wengine 7 wamenusurika wako nje. 4 wako ndani, na kati ya wao wamenusurika kuna mmoja ambaye 4 wao wamepelekwa hospitali, na mmoja inasemekana ako na spinal injury.
Onto the scales of justice, where the High Court has temporarily barred the Judicial Service Commission (JSC) from recruiting new judges to the Court of Appeal and High Court. Now, Justice Anthony Mrima issued conservatory orders suspending any further action by JSC, including invitation, consideration, evaluation, deliberation, or interviewing of applications for appointment of judges to the Court of Appeal and High Court. Here's that story.
The Judicial Service Commission has shortlisted candidates for interviews this month to fill positions of judges of the Court of Appeal and the High Court. Judge Anthony Mrima in his ruling said even though there is need to recruit more judges to the superior courts, the recruitment process must itself comply and be within the Constitution, otherwise it will be null and void. In the case, Katiba Institute had sued the CJ Martha Koome and the JSC, seeking to stop the recruitment of new judges until the 6 judges left out by President Uhuru Kenyatta are appointed into office.
On to my culture. Now, the forest cannot survive without us, just as we cannot survive without it.
Now, this is a belief that's held dear among members of the Ogiek community and handed down from generation to generation.
The Ogieks are an indigenous minority community who practice hunting and gathering.
Now, for years, the Ogieks referred to the Mau Forest Complex, their home, and the community's cultural museum.
In this week's edition of My Culture, we feature the Ogieks of the Mau Forest.
The Ogiek of Mau are spread across 6 counties that include Nakuru, Narok, Uasin Gishu, Nandi, Kericho and Baringo, and as such we journeyed to Nakuru County. Traditionally practicing hunting and gathering, the Ogiek are considered among the marginalized communities, owing to, among others, their small numbers. As per the 2019 census report, the community comprises of 52,596 members.
Mimi ni mkaaji wa hapa Kiptunga Forest Station ambayo tumeishi kwa miaka zote.
Often likened to the pygmies of the Congo, the Ogiek, whose name means caretaker of all plants and animals, believe the forest is essential to their way of life and ultimately their survival.
Tulikuwa tumegawa msitu kwa uko. Na wazee waliniambia 1970s walikuta watu walikuwa nakata hii miti. Na hiyo miti unaweza ona hapa vile hiyo miti iliweza kukatwa. Na wazee walikimbia kwa nguvu sana kuhakikisha ni hii sauti inasikika kwa hii msitu ni gani. Kufika wanakuta ni hii miti yao inakatwa. Wazee wakazuia hii miti mpaka leo hii unaona hata imepona. Hiyo miti imepona. Sasa iko sawa, hiyo miti inaendelea kuishi.
Among the Ogieks, honey was and has been the trademark and staple food.
Hapa wazee ndio walikuwa nakaa. Misinga yote ilikuwa inatengenezewa hapa. Hapa ndio walikuwa wanachona misinga na kuweka na kusupply hapa. Kwa hivyo hapa ni sehemu muhimu sana kwa jamii.
Residing deep within the forest, the community has had less exposure to modern medicine and their knowledge of herbs has come in handy.
Unaona hizi, watu wanaona tu ni majani, lakini ni madawa. Kwanza hii umeona hii. Inatibu tumbo.
Hii ndio unatoa mizizi ya ndani, unang'oa, unatafuna tu na kumeza tu mate yake, hiyo maji yake.
The Ogiek believe the sun, Tororet, was a deity and often offered sacrifices when faced with calamities such as drought.
Okiogele asista ribot na kila betut. Ekusikon yene singoji niribwe logo kuribwe tukia kuribwe biik tugul. Nilikuwa naombea nchi kwa jumla, hata hizi maneno ya siasa, na kuombea hata watoto wetu akiwa kwa shule wapate kusikiza walimu, hata kila kitu, hata ng'ombe zetu, hata maneno ya kiangazi.
The elderly women were charged with offering prayers of protection that were held at night. In this community, unlike their neighbors, the larger Kalenjin communities who offered blood sacrifices, the Ogiek used honey mixed with water for their religious ceremonies.
The
Ogiek used mapoita, a shrine for all cultural, spiritual and ritual matters, but only women who were pure of wrongdoings were allowed to pour milk, referred to as chango, mixed with honey and water, onto the shrine alongside their male counterparts. Each clan is headed by an elder, Apuyon.
Mzee mmoja alikuwa na misinga karibu 3,000 katika misitu yake, kwa sababu jamii ya Ogiek walikuwa wamegawa misitu, kila clan iko na misitu yao. Wamama naye jukumu yao ilikuwa ni kutafuta ile kuni imekauka, hiyo ndio alikuwa wakiota.
For the Ogiek, boys and girls of age underwent the cut.
Saa ile zamani ilikuwa na tairi watu, wa mama naweka kichwa, akaenda kuleta majani kwa msituni. Na saa hiyo kijana amefereka watoto msituni, naenda kukatia hiyo majani ilikuwa tunashika. Lakini sasa tumekataa hiyo kutairi watu.
In matters of dress, the Ogiek hunted the hyrax for its hide, inderet.
Kwa mfano hii niliridhiri kwa wazee, hii kwa babu, naye babu baba akamridhi kwa babu. Na mimi sasa kama mtoto nimeridhi, na sasa mimi nitatransfer kwa watoto.
Both men and women adorned in the same attire, with women accessorizing using beads. Brown beads symbolize the earth, white peace, black the African skin, and green for the environment.
Sasa hii ndio nguo ya jamii ya Ogiek. Ukiona hii, umeona jamii ya Ogiek.
Living by their edicts about conservation, they used myths and taboos to discourage cutting down of certain tree species.
Kamweu ni mahali watu wanaogopa.
And the Ogiek community believes that the forest requires them for its survival, just as they require the forest for their survival. But years of land injustices, climate change, rapid urbanization is threatening this particular birthright.
Unajua kwa kwetu wazee wa zamani, miti kama hii kubwa ikianguka, wanaenda na wazee.
There were more other spiritual places of worship scattered within the forest, but prohibited to women and young men.
Kila kitu kama hata ni kuinua, kama ni mzee, mtu anapewa kiti, kama sasa mfano kama mtu fulani anataka kupewa kama kiongozi, anapelekwa hapo.
The community who won a land case in 2017 at the African Court in Arusha, Tanzania, laying claim to the Mau complex, which the government is yet to acknowledge.
Kama watu wanashinda kesi, itengenezewe kama vile ilivyo, na ifuatiliwe ionekana kesi hiyo imeisha.
Due to constant evictions, the community is fading away, with those still within the Mau complex not able to access basic amenities such as hospitals and schools.
Most parents cannot afford to take their children to boarding school, which is expensive. So you find that Ogiek children stay up to the age of 10 or 8 before joining nursery school or early education.
The Ogiek, caretaker of all plants and animals, can only hope for inclusivity and policy making to safeguard this tradition and culture. Regina Manyara reporting for My Culture.
Always such an interesting segment, so much to learn. You know, the fact that we as Kenyans are so diverse within our different tribes, and of course the things that we believe in. It's just an eye-opener, really.
Absolutely, how culture is deeply entrenched, and that's a really beautiful piece of the Ogieks of the Mau forest. Make a date for another scintillating episode of My Culture next week. And from that, we go to the streets of the social media.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, from protocol to political returns, the week that served Kenyans with the fodder they needed to keep social media abuzz.
All right, and as Tessa Martin reports, if you thought Shen was still a thing, you need to wake up and smell the newest lingo. That's a Shembeteng. Is that what they say? Nakulombotov. Yeah, I had to go with that one.
I know it.
All right, here's a social media week. Interesting one enough.
Hey, Mrembeteng Nakulombotov. Do I understand what I said? No. But apparently that is the new language making rounds on social media.
The analogy of the Tower of Babel, a tower built by Noah's descendants, probably in Babylon, who intended it to reach up to heaven. God foiled them by confusing their language so they could no longer understand one another. But it looks like the evolution of languages has not reached its peak yet, because Shembeteng has rocked social media hard this week.
Inaitwa Shembeteng, ni kitu imekumbutuja na ubomba taya, imekumbutuja tu kuumbutua, inaitwa Shembeteng.
Madaraka Day was not spared from the Lumbutuga.
Haramba tambe, mimbi timi uhumbu tunya nimekumbu tuja.
Ningepembe tenda kumkaribimbi tisha, raimbi tisu embe tetu, wajamhumbu turi ya kembe tenya.
And talking of the president, Kenya's fourth rolled into Uhuru Gardens for the KDF air show on the wheels. Didi tweeted, bodyguards wametoka mbio kwa gari, unaeza vania wamekosea. Benson wrote, I will miss Uhuru for driving himself and his dress code. At last, Uhuru Gardens is open to the public, a spectacle to behold. But for Omera, something appears to be missing. He laments, mbona hakuna statue ya fisi hapo? Meanwhile, it was a week that saw the return of man Stivo to Azimio, a major earthquake announcement, he dubbed it. Kibisu tweeted, what happens to your running mate now? Wa? Ben, umeamua kurudi soko? Hey, laughing emoji. Lord said, this guy though, emoji of slaps his face in disbelief. Anyway, looking to get rich these tough economic times, apparently you might not need much to secure a job. All you need perhaps is a Zimbabwean passport. Fred broke the news. Unconfirmed reports show that people in Zimbabwe are selling toes. A big toe, $40,000, middle toe, $25,000, and tiny toe, $10,000, because of the high cost of living.
Do you have a friend visiting Zimbabwe? Kindly do not ask them about it. Well, that's it for us today. Catch you next week on Savage Netizens. For Easy Friday, I am Teresa Mutai.
So basically, we're kind of going with the flow, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. I was even trying to write some of those things that he's been saying. But I'm sure it doesn't even rhyme with what we're saying. Tunaimbi tingia into business botos mbiti news. Okay, you're going for business news.
That just went from here to here. It flew. So I'll see you on the other side for business news.
Let's just do business news next.
Banki imeconfirm pesa zimeingia. Congratulations Sam, gari ni lako sasa.
Shukran. Oi boss, si uniache insurance yako nitumie kabla nijipange.
We,
insurance ya gari haiwezi kuwa transferred kwa mtu mwingine.
Sina habari na nikuulize, hii comprehensive insurance inakava vitu gani?
Comprehensive motor insurance inakava gari linapoharibika wakati wa ajali pamoja na uharibifu wa mali ya mtu mwingine, gari likiibiwa au likichomeka. Pia inakava passenger wa gari lako na passenger wa lile gari lingine kunapotokea ajali.
Kwani umenisahau mimi kama driver?
Dereva hakui covered na comprehensive insurance, ila anajitafutia personal accident cover.
Umenichanua. Rose, hata nishughulikie hiyo insurance, nitakujia gari kesho.
Okay, sawa.
All right, it's time for me to bring you up to speed with matters business. Now, 171 taxpayers have this financial year been prosecuted on tax-related charges. Of course, Kenya Revenue Authority Chief Tax Dispute Manager Justice Kiambu says the value of the active cases involving large companies and SMEs amounts to 6 billion shillings, of which KRA has so far recovered 1.7 billion shillings.
In the last decade, Kenya Revenue Authority has been targeting the can't pay, won't pay category of individuals and corporate taxpayers who are estimated at 0.01% of the 4.5 and planning of fraud schemes, personalities involved, and public interest.
We know this is why we exist, to send that message that tax evasion is a crime, and crimes will be punished criminally.
KRA plans to step up the use of social media to nab tax cheats to ensure taxpayers remit their fair share of taxes.
We will not do surveillance wholesale. We do surveillance for tax purposes only. We have no interest in your communication, in your dealings, in your everything, until and unless it is a risk to tax.
Caroline Jenga for Easy Friday.
Now, Kenya is set to receive part of the over 150 billion shillings emergency food fund from the African Development Bank, targeting African vulnerable countries. The fund is expected to mitigate the anticipated lower food production due to poor rains and high fertilizer prices.
Kenya is staring at further high wheat prices after this season's harvest declined 33% to 1.2 million 90 kg bags from 1.8 million bags the previous season. Imports to April this year reduced 200,000 bags from the same period last year, with Kenya missing the import quota by 1.2 million bags. With this, the government had requested 8.1 billion shillings from the African Development Bank to mitigate high wheat and fertilizer prices in the international market. The African Development Bank has released over 150 billion shillings as emergency funds to cushion African countries against the effects of the Russian-Ukraine war that has affected food prices.
The African Development Bank launched a $1.5 billion African Emergency Food Production Plan that will allow Africa to produce about 38 million metric tons of food. That is more than enough to compensate for whatever Africa loses from imports from Russia and Ukraine. So,
AFD President Akinwumi Adesani is calling for more agriculture value chain funding favorable tariffs and addressing non-tariff barriers to boost inter-African trade in agricultural commodities to reduce dependence on foreign food imports.
Change the nature of agriculture, of course. That will make agriculture more productive, more efficient, more competitive. And the value chains of agriculture will become much better. And then you don't move raw materials out of zones.
Last year, Kenya imported wheat worth 22 billion shillings from Russia and Ukraine. Benson Juba reporting for Easy Friday.
Now, publishers are losing over 40% of the market share to book piracy. The Kenya Publishers Association is alarmed over the vice, with textbooks remaining the biggest target for pirates as they make up to 90% of the country's book market and their sales are virtually guaranteed.
The Kenya Publishers Association has identified Nakuru County as the melting point of book piracy in Kenya, where criminals counterfeit books that are increasingly flooding the country. The association points out the pirated books often have poor binding and print quality but still go for the same price as their original counterparts. In addition, the pirated books are illegible and riddled with spelling mistakes and mixed up pages, and the errors often compromise the quality of education.
Help us fight piracy by encouraging the learners, the teachers, the parents to access our books from the credible booksellers.
Because the right person who is supposed to get something from it is not getting while somebody is selling fake things, which also has a lot of mistakes, pages missing, and you're not going to get good value for your money.
KPA Chair Kiambu Mau says the growing menace is resulting in the loss of employment for most professionals in the book publishing industry, creating a string of losses in the book supply chain. He says the government loses on value-added tax on untraceable book sales, while legitimate distributors suffer low sales and authors lose out on royalties.
When those books reach these young learners, they have missing pages. They have pages that are not legible. They have mixed up pages and so many other bad things.
Local publishers are now calling on parents to buy books from dealers who have electronic tax register receipt and the security features recommended by the Kenya Publishers Association that help schools and parents ascertain the authenticity of books.
Let us not buy books from the corridors. We buy books from the recognized booksellers and bookshops within the town.
Education industry players note a vibrant publishing industry is not only good for the economy, but also as a custodian of the Kenyan culture. Hibak Said for Easy Friday.
The list of the schools that are here.
All right, and with that, it's a wrap when it comes to business news. But don't go too far, because coming up next, we've got sports news. Kago is on the side, and he'll be taking you through the sports news for the day.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723 892 654 or 0734 780 124.
Top sports attractions on KBC Channel 1. In July, Kenya Morans face off against the DRC, Egypt and Senegal in the FIBA Basketball World Cup African qualifiers in Alexandria, Egypt from 1st to 3rd of July 2022. Also in July, Kenya plays South Africa in Rugby League test matches in Nairobi with the return fixtures set for October. Still in July, watch the World Athletic Championships from 15th to 24th July live from Oregon, USA, as Kenyan athletes seek glory. Followed by the 22nd Commonwealth Games from 28th July to 8th August, live from Birmingham, England. In August, join our coverage of the World Athletics Under-20 Championships from the 1st to 6th of August 2022 from Cali, Colombia. Then, in November, catch the World Half Marathon Championships on 13th November from Yangzhou, China. Now that's what sets us apart as KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Right, welcome to today's sports. Now, Kenya's contingent to this year's African Senior Athletics Championships in Redwood, Mauritius, is expected to depart on Sunday. That's June the 5th for the championship that will be held from June 8th to June 12th.
Kenya is looking forward to defending the title the last won in 2018 in Nigeria and has set sight on dominating the biannual track and field showpiece. Kenya will be represented by a total of 55 athletes. Reigning 400 meters national champion Collins Omai is hopeful that the squad will surpass the 2018 performance.
We've had a good 2-3 weeks of training, so I think the team is ready, the team is well prepared. So what is remaining right now is just relaxing and going out and executing what we've been preparing and what we've been training on. So it should be a good outing, and we expect a lot of good performances from the team.
I expect a lot of medals coming from Mauritius. Then we have another championship which is ahead of us for Commonwealth and World Championship. We expect that most of the athletes are going to qualify in Mauritius.
Two-time African javelin champion Julius Yego will be seeking his third title in a field that includes his compatriots Alexander Kiprotich and Medusela Kiprop.
Naenda na athletes throwers sita, 3 women and 3 men. Now I'm expecting they will do something good.
The athletes are in high motives. They have trained well, prepared. Now I'm brushing out the runway and throwing techniques for the athletes.
During the 2018 edition held in Nigeria, Kenya clinched a total of 19 medals to top the overall medal standings. Nora Mwangi reporting for Easy Friday.
All right, now the national women's cricket team head coach Francis Otieno has warned that the team faces a daunting task in their attempt to defend the Kwibuka Women's T20 cricket tournament scheduled for 9th to 19th of June in Kigali, Rwanda. Kenya is among 7 nations that have confirmed participation in the 8th edition of the tournament, held in remembrance of victims of the 1994 Rwandan genocide.
Head coach Francis Otieno admitted there is pressure for the side to retain the Kwibuka title, but stated that his long-term goal was to help the team qualify for the one-day status.
Our bigger goal is to see that we get to qualify for the one-day status as the women's one-day status, and even at some point we get a chance to play at the global level, in the T20 global level, at the global level. So basically Rwanda is just part of our journey, you know, and whatever the results, you're not going to be really, it is not really going to demoralize as much, whatever happens. It is just part of the journey.
The coach who took charge of the team recently pointed out that for the country to regain the status, the local women's league needed revamping, getting the national team regular international games, among other changes.
For us to be able to get a chance to be able to play in the one-day, to get one-day status, we need to be playing more games. We need to have our local leagues being played here, women local leagues, you know, and those are some of the challenges that we are facing, you know, and we need also to make a lot of tours to get more exposure, play against the bigger teams, so that in that way we can be able to build our team, because to get one-day status means that you're playing some good cricket, and you can't play some good cricket if you don't have enough exposure, if you don't have enough games to help you prepare.
A fairly changed Kenyan squad will face hosts Rwanda, Uganda, Tanzania, Nigeria, Germany, Brazil and Botswana in round robin in the 9-day tournament. Team captain Quinta Abel believes that the team is ready, singling out batting, which she said had proved challenging to the team in previous matches, but had now improved under the guidance of head coach Francis, who also coached Uganda's women national team between 2016 and 2018.
We always have a weakness in our batting. We tend to depend on the top six. Now that he has come in, we can have up to number 11 batting and getting us to win. So he has really come of real hand to us.
Quinta, who emerged the series' best player last year, will lead a squad of 14 players to the championship that Kenya will use to prepare for the forthcoming Women's T20 Cricket World Cup qualifiers in September in Uganda. 2 teams from the 8 participating nations will proceed to the next round of the World Cup qualifiers, where Malaysia, Bangladesh, Scotland and Sri Lanka wait. 4 best-placed teams from the World qualifiers will earn slots at the final scheduled next year in South Africa. Kenya, 4-time winners of the Kwibuka tournament held annually since 2014, is expected to depart for Rwanda on 7th of June. Bernard Okumu for Easy Friday Sports.
All right, now International Olympic Committee Athletes Commission member Humphrey Kayange has been appointed as an executive member of the World Anti-Doping Agency's WADA. Kayange, who is a former Sevens national team skipper, was appointed during a 2-day WADA Executive Committee and Foundation Board meeting held in Cairo, Egypt. That's between Wednesday and Thursday this week.
Kayange was appointed as a representative of the IOC Athletes Commission for a 3-year term. WADA is comprised of a 38-member board, mandated with policy-making body and 14-member executive committee. The appointment comes at a time when NOC, in conjunction with the Ministry of Sports, is working to ensure that athletes adhere to anti-doping rules in sports in collaboration with the Anti-Doping Agency of Kenya, ADAC. Kayange is also the CEO for Team Kenya to the upcoming Commonwealth Games, slated for Birmingham, UK, between 28th July and 8th of August this year. ADAC has organized 8 educational cluster seminars for Team Kenya for the Games, which is currently in their 2nd week. At the residential camp, which started on 1st June, with 3x3 basketball, judo, wrestling, boxing and weightlifting teams, followed by Cluster 2 on 2nd June, featuring para-athletics, wheelchair, basketball, powerlifting and paracycling. The 3rd ADAC training, held at Utalii today, featured lawn bowls, squash and table tennis, before breaking till 7th of June, where hockey and triathlon teams will be taken through the session. For Easy Friday Sports, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
Well, congratulations are definitely in order for Humphrey Kayange in regards to that appointment. Now, Ricardo Horta struck on his first Portugal appearance in almost 8 years as they drew 1-1 with Spain in their Nations League opener in Sevilla last night. Meanwhile, Manchester City-bound striker Erling Haaland scored the winner for Norway as they began the Nations League campaign with a 1-0 victory in Serbia. He's part of that action.
Spain Alvaro Morata scored the opening goal, finishing off a slick move involving Gabi and Pablo Sarabia, while Braga's Victor Orta came off the bench and tacked home Joao Cancelo's cross. This is the only 2nd time in 9 games in all competition that Spain have not won. The other was last year's Nations League final defeat by France. In the other game in Group A2, the Czech Republic beat Switzerland 2-1 last night. On Sunday, the Czech host Spain and Portugal are at home to Switzerland. Meanwhile, Haaland scored the only goal for Norway after a clever approach involving Arsenal's Martin Odegaard to defeat Serbia 1-0. Haaland has scored in his past 6 internationals, hitting 9 goals in the period, and in total, he has struck 16 times in 18 appearances in his country. Sweden beat Slovenia 2-0 in the other game in Group B4, while Greece defeated Northern Ireland 1-0. Other matches slated for today: France hosts Denmark, Belgium take on Netherlands, Croatia play Austria, while Belarus face Slovakia. For Sports News, I'm Dion Mogire.
right, and after sports, we put a cap on the first part of Easy Friday, where we bring you up to date, of course, on the news that's been shaping up. Many thanks indeed for choosing us to inform you. We are crossing over to the other side of the studio. That's the spotlight. What are you looking at today?
All right, so today we have a Malawian artist. His name is Tana P. He is a music producer, an artist, a beat maker, music engineer, basically all things music. He's the man.
Yeah, he's got the look and those shades looking really good. And that's happening on the other side for the spotlight. So stick around for a lot of music happening.
Oh, yeah.
With our DJ, resident DJ, what do you call
Cole Jacks on the decks as well.
Cole Jacks, all right. Thank you so much. Susan Thuku has been a sign language interpreter. On behalf of the team, my name is John Kago. That's how.
Hello, festival, my name is Mr. Vegetable. You're now rocking with a knife for the party. Everybody be happy, shorty come around me like a host. Up and down elevator, strange clouds are making rain by an umbrella. So everybody, shake your body, take a shot at tequila. Somebody get it, body. What's up, put the show day, that's until I shake out your money maker. Who's say so young, who's say done up, what's in the what the spend. The way I will know go with the gym. Say when I'm well, go with the midnight. The goal is the top. I mean impinda. Wine think tulipe mafupa kuzipinda. Sawa, everybody have some fun. Baby make my champagne shower. To the shower we gon' party right. Single sanga la. Usadana zamawa. Sing my single la. Oh my ladies, I'm single right now. Let's dance. Flow my belly on kwenye telly. So fresh, milk in the belly out. You got style, me I got swagger. I could be the keepy with an arrow and a dagger. No ass, not fair for you ladies, yes. Because set on your marks, get ready, guess. I've been in the game like a fast day wedding, and I keep my boss first like a heading. Baby, what you doing tonight? I'ma do it if you're doing what I'm doing tonight. Tell me, we're doing that tonight. Everybody know we're gonna have a night tonight. Can you feel me, ladies? Dance yourself up right now. Swear this is crazy when I sing that I'm single, la. Let the benzi like a baby, nikupeleke mpaga la. Nikuonyeshe wazazi tizingo sanga la. Takupa langu penzi goes I la. Baby, sawa. Everybody have some fun. Baby, drink my champagne shower. To the shower we gon' party right. The single sanga la. Usadana zamawa. Sing my single la. Oh my ladies, I'm single right now. Let's dance. Mama, get your party on. Play my song so loud, no parents home. You can call my phone and I'll be over there rocking to the early morning. You're dealing with a gentleman. I ain't tryna get into your pants. But if I do, it's your lucky day. Tell me what you drink, Savannah ciders or Heineken. Party with Rockstar, let's get rowdy. In the Rasta, roll up the daisy. I believe I can fly, no R. Kelly. Pretty chicks on my side, no one's arguing. Pack it up, like a truck in a parking lot, baby. Take a look at that thing. It's a big problem, can't you last? Bongo la wage. Makes me take out my wallet. It's okay, baby, don't worry. Silibo zina banke. You can chop on my money. And even if I'm in poverty, I will lose my day. Sawa. Everybody have some fun. Baby, make my champagne shower. To the shower we gon' party right. The single sanga la. Usadana zamawa. Sing my single la. Oh my ladies, I'm single right now. Let's dance. I work really hard, man. Yeah. Fresh. City go fresh. Yeah. I say something like this. City go fresh. Just look at my face. We live in the faith. Controlling my feelings, I walk in the spirit, just look at the flesh. Fresh, looking at ways, check out the fans. Look at my friends, I'm the influencer. Me go fresh. I walk in the spirit, controlling my feelings, I look at the flesh. Look at the flesh. Me go fresh. Johnny got first. We rocking the America, looking like I'm bulletproof vest. Reading the word, I'm spitting this verse. City go fresh. Get with the flesh. I pull up the worst, my time and I invest. Prayer fasting, memorize words. When we pull up to the premise, the boost off is to your church. Every past, looking like change. Breathe on my sins when I'm dripping in chains. Balenciagas, got niggas on my feet with numbers again. We're looking for prayer. Whenever the temptation we finna run. Trouble like Messi. Jenga hijanti masawa kubisala. Look at the message. Put them in the corner, man, it's a good vision now. Vida see we said, city go fresh. Tunajichunga, mina jijua bila kuflex. Kikesh, unatafuta munga na tuma, enter the page. Best to confirm. Nalipa shopping kwa super ka unga na veg. Nana shrimp, niko na beef na flesh. Ukanipata kwa bucha. Siku zingine bude kula maneno sare chakula. Fast and break, unasecha paka Esther. Napenda katanye, fanya pizza pecho. Ama fanya looking like money. When you look at him, up in here, I work hard, smell like money to me, smell like money to me, looking like money, smell like money. Check, I don't look like the hustle, I'm looking like a bundle. I be stacking verses while they looking like a camera. That is on my front though. I just like the Bago haters wanna bring me trouble, so my bank account's up. Don't be better than my fanny, so swagged up. Chains on my feet, point walk me to the look. Now if you don't have the best, then you can't have my number. I'm a paper just a hustler, watch a $1 punch. My head is still smelling like ganj. My name is upward class, but I'm so gangsta. Time to pee me janja, when you see me just janga, I be high on the mini kama janga buda mimi huarada ni kama mimi uchana. Listen to my Swahili chichewa nchisunga changa. Let my shilling talk to you like a chopper. Bitch, I'm looking like money. I ain't looking for banana and bitch after I just pull up in that chopper. Looking like money, looking like money, looking like money. Yeah. Walked up in here, yeah. Some smell funny, some smell funny, smell money. Yeah. No air, smell money to me. Smell money to me. Looking like money, smell like money, look like money. Go. Yeah, got the mic on. Probably the realest I've ever wrote. Say something. It go peace, love, and unity. It go peace, love, and unity. CSR, giving back to the community. I don't wanna see no wars, cause I got immunity. Tell the politician we gon' vote if it's too legit. Make a good decision for the people in the villages. Section 4, this is my election song. I be sleeping on the floor and the couches in the stool. I just keep it on the low. Don't you let the vouchers through. We so tired of corruption, where the money going to. I'ma do it for my poor people. Call me Robin Hood. Jobs is scared, the youth be crying for some food. We just drinking all the booze, we ain't reading all the books. Way too cool for school, education is good. Cook it up with a spoon, just working with the crooks too. Pull up in the tuk-tuk, my tattoo we gon' tuk-tuk. Fighting for a race, fighting for a race, yeah, yeah. We just fighting for a race, yeah, we fighting for our rights. Fighting for our rights, working for a better rights, yeah. We fighting for our rights, fighting for our rights. Just fighting for our rights, fighting for our rights, working just to get a better race. Oh God. They're like, Tana, why you tryna be political? Cause I see them goons in the streets getting illegal. Never had no parents, we just learn from what we listen to. Searching for the riches too, we'll stitch this with no flings too. We'll stimulate our taxes, rising every week in zero. Banks never loan us, life overlookable. Yeah, Jesus Christ saves me, I'm just a withdrawer. Cash in the drawer, stash for the stoners. Sell it to the others, they just wanna get royalty money. But cops take it, you can ask Ilani. Camp, underplaying with the underground artists. Been working real hard, but that guala ain't coming. Doing 9 to 5 just to get a meal or two. Plug drugs for the fiends, just for the shillings too. You ain't even... Yeah.
All right, that's Tana P. He's an artist. Remember, somebody who I think has a lot of talent when it comes to rap, when it comes to hip hop. He's also known for his beat mixing, music engineering. He's a producer, and yeah, a lot of things that that people look for in the industry when it comes to versatility. He's got them all. So thank you so much for coming on board. That was quite an energetic performance, I must say. Absolutely loved it. So we can take a seat.
Let's do it.
All right, so Tana, I just noticed one thing is that most of your songs, they have a very strong message, right? There's things that you're talking about when it comes to politics, it comes to life, it comes to basically things that people go through in their day-to-day lives. So are you somebody who gets inspired by real life events, and are you passionate about bringing about change?
I just think it's good to be all around, and most artists are not real. It's not just an issue about, it's not just in the entertainment business. We have an obligation to share our lives and to add value, to teach, to also, have a positive message. So I'm kind of all around, and I believe in keeping it real and being relatable. So my music is not just something that is just a vibe or something you can dance to. I have that too, but I really focus on trying to get an audience that is 360. So I know there's an audience that's listening, in as much as maybe the music became dumb right now, but there's always an audience that's listening, and they really want to, I want to change the narrative when it comes to hip-hop music and the content that, for the mature audience and for the young folks.
There's always a message, right? In most of your songs, I noticed, and it's just an observation that I really want to talk about, because you said you want to change the narrative, that hip-hop music isn't just about being dumb, because nowadays, a lot of things, they talk about is drugs, they talk about materialistic things, cars, money,
objectifying women,
houses, and exactly, women as well. So it's very refreshing to hear that you're trying to change the narrative and bring about change. Very important. When you were growing up, did you always know this is the direction that you wanted to take with your life? This is what you wanted to do with yourself as an individual?
Yeah, ever since, man. My dad, he's a great man back home. He's an artist too.
In Malawi?
In Malawi, yeah. He's
wow.
an artist and a pastor.
Okay.
Yeah, so he taught me most of the things I knew.
A pastor?
Yeah.
So basically growing up, you know, in a Christian, Catholic household.
Good morals, you know.
Okay.
I'm not exactly religious, I'm spiritual.
Yes.
You know, so, so I learned a lot of principles and virtues from him. But music has always been there, you know, so the Michael Jacksons, the, all of the legends, basically, the Tupacs, and I grew up listening to that. So I knew music is what I am, you know. I spent a lot of time in it, learning with the little equipments that he would always buy me stuff, a keyboard, a drum set, or whatnot, you know, a studio setup. And I appreciate that because he really invested in my talent. And most parents in this age and time, that's something that is a point of contention, you know. Kids would want to be, well, entertainers or whatnot, but there are other jobs and other careers that are seen to be, you know, more
acceptable
than the others, you know. But he never really, I didn't pursue it in school. I did something else. I did business administration, to just have like an augmented, you know, balance, you know, that if one thing goes, you know, these things can balance together. But I always knew my star and my calling and my destiny has been in music.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very interesting. Tana, why Kenya? You know, you are from Malawi and you're born and brought up there. When did you move to Kenya? And when did you decide that you want to stay back and you don't want to go home? Well, this is your home now.
This is home. This is totally home.
Yeah.
Kenya is lovely, you guys. Kenya is awesome, man. Like this is I think it's the central, the hub of so many things, you know. Like even when it comes to music, you know.
How did you end up coming here?
School. I was in Daystar.
Okay, so you came here for uni?
Yeah, I came here for uni.
Interesting.
Again, the morals. I was given three options, Rwanda, South Africa, or here. And we all picked Kenya because it has, the standards.
Love it.
Yes. So yeah, I came here for school, but I also made a lot of good friendships and relationships here.
Okay.
And just learning how the industry is. And I love it here. I really, really love it here. So yeah, it's been 10 years. I go back and forth, and there's just things I'm always in awe at how the industry here has been developed and all that. It's funny because I think for most Kenyans living in the country, they wouldn't see it. It's more or less that they'll be talking about more problems or whatnot.
Oh yeah.
But you guys have a good thing going on here.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been in South and so many other places too. And here there's that culture where it's balanced. There is music, there is entertainment, there's arts, there is the professional, well, not the profession, there's
so bit of everything.
Exactly.
Okay,
so
I love
that
it.
whole bunch is pretty awesome.
It's very nice to hear. Thank you for that.
Okay.
And glad that you're enjoying your time here in Kenya, and of course you made it home.
Yeah.
And you're using this platform to just grow your talents.
True.
and your art as well. That's great. Tana, what are a few things that you're interested in aside from music? Well, I've just mentioned that you do rapping, you are a beat mixer, and you have studied music very in depth, and so basically music is all that you know. But maybe you can tell our viewers something that they don't know about you, something that you love to do, you love to pursue in terms of your hobbies. It'd be interesting to know something about you that people don't know.
I love food.
You're a foodie.
Yeah, I'm a foodie. I'm a total foodie. So chefing, cooking, I like experimenting.
Oh, nice! You cook?
Yeah. I would cook for my girl. I would cook for my parents.
Okay.
Loved ones.
Not many Kenyan men cook. So I hope you're listening.
Notes, guys.
Take notes, please.
Yeah. So that, and also the business part, because it's not just the art side. Like, so I'm into business.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's what I studied. So just investing in people's ideas, whatever creative, whatever intellectual properties, that's something. Things that are creative, new, innovative, just ideas, whether it's the ICT, inventions. You know, I'm really supportive of new nitty ideas, you know, that can actually help, you know, our society. So if there's any person who they have an idea or a business, and I mean we can share notes or whatnot, I always, that's something that I want to grow, you know, as a business person, as an entrepreneur and investor or whatnot. But yeah, so because I know like there's so many talented folks, and Africa hasn't done a good job at nurturing, you know, creative ideas. It's really just been an industrial kind of setup where we're just following what was given, but we can live outside the box and find ways, means to make life better, easier, you know. And so yeah, that's what those two things.
Interesting. Tana, if you were to compare the industry, the music industry in Kenya, in comparison to that in Malawi, for instance, you've already mentioned that, you know, we've got a good thing going on here. Kenya is the hub of arts and basically creatives. So what would you say is lacking? And maybe you can list down things that are different in both the countries.
Yeah, it's funny that you have to use the word comparison.
Yeah.
I don't usually like to compare stuff, you know. I think
it doesn't have to be a bad comparison.
Yeah, exactly.
It can just,
true.
You know.
So what I can say is Kenya has developed in so many areas. In terms of like the business is there.
Okay.
There is a structure, you know. There's the artists are there, but what I would say is like, and I think the creativity still is not to peak, because if you know most Malawians in the music there's a divide from the east to the south, right? Most of the music that plays in the east, when you go to past Tanzania, going down to Zambia, Zim, Malawi, that side, it's a whole different sound.
Okay.
And it's a whole different sound. The language is also a barrier. So just merging, just in as much as we're going pan-African with the music, and we're becoming one little small nice village where we're appreciating each other's lingo and sounds, the creativity part and the, what can I say, the patriotism when it comes to show event promoters promoting and investing in the artists
in their own
talent,
their own Kenyan talent.
Exactly. There's a craze. There's too much craze
for
and too
international
much.
acts.
The Western, the Nigerians will have it good here.
Oh yeah.
The Jamaicans will have it good. It's a different case in Malawi, but it's more or less the same in a sense. But it's a different case there because we know we're like a minority in a sense. So you have so many shows going on. Young kids are getting a lot of support from the folks. That's what also happened in Nigeria.
Tana, just to cut you a little short, I want to actually take it to one of your songs, and then we'll be back in just a moment.
Cool.
If you don't mind.
Let's do it.
All right.
Yeah, let's do it.
Kojax.
The mic on. Probably the realest I've ever broke. Say some of this. It go peace, love, and unity. It go peace, love, and unity. CSR, giving back to the community. I don't wanna see no wars, cause I got immunity. Tell the politician we gon' vote if it's too legit. Make a good decision for the people in the village. We live section 4, this is my election song. I be sleeping on the floor and the couches in the stool. I just keep it on the low. Don't you let the vouchers through. We so tired, it's the rupture where the money going to. I'ma do it for my poor people. Call me Robin Hood. Jobs are scared, they be crying for some food. We just drinking all the booze, we ain't reading all the books. Way too cool for school, education is good. Cook it up with a spoon, we just working with the crooks too. Pull up in it, then if my tattoo we gon' took to. Fighting for a race, fighting for a race, yeah. We just fighting for a race, yeah. We fighting for our rights, fighting for our rights, working for a better rights, yeah. We fighting for our rights, fighting for our rights. We just fighting for our rights, fighting for our rights, working just to get a better race. Oh God. They're like, Tana, why you tryna be political? Cause I see them goons in the streets getting physical. Never had no parents, we just learn from what we listen to.
Right, welcome back. This is Easy Friday. On the spotlight, we've got Tana P from Malawi. Remember, he's somebody who I think has many talents. And as you watch that particular video, the one thing that I really liked about the video is the way you had filmed it. Very interesting perspective. You know, you were bringing stuff from the past, of course, history, and once again, events that have happened in the past, and a very strong message there as well. So your music videos, I do know that they are very expensive to make. Of course, you need a very high budget when you put together a music video. In your case, how exactly do you go about the funding? You know, has it ever been a challenge for you to put together a music video? And how do you manage to get the budget for music videos like that?
I think just like what my mom taught me, where there's a will, there's a way.
I love it.
You know, so, and we use what we have to get what we don't have.
Okay.
You know, so the high-end budgets for videos, some of them are just creative, and most of them are just I really spend a lot of time with my videographers. I spend a lot of time with you know, my parents. I just convincing, telling them the ideas, and whoever is interested to, you know, to just input and help me with the fund and the financing of the videos. But it is a challenge, so we well, it gets done. It gets done. I compile up the numbers, work at it, and well, yeah, I relate with a lot of people. But it's a blessing too, because I would say I put it on God, because He just makes sure that there's bread for the videos.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I like what you said. I'm actually going to use it in my life as well. Okay. We use what we have to create what we don't have.
Trust. Yeah.
Lesson learned. Yeah. I'm definitely going to use that in my own life.
Exactly.
Thank you for that, Tana. Tana, let's talk about, you know, your career, right? You've been doing this for like 10 years. More than 10 years? Okay. And what are your goals? What are some of the things that, you know, you want to achieve, and what you want to do with yourself in terms of music? Is there a particular genre of music that you want to try and tap into that you haven't yet touched?
Nice that you say that. I have our own thing with my team. Shout out to Fred Matunga for that. Our genre, my type of genre of music is Afro banger.
Okay,
and,
interesting.
If you read Shades of Banger, which was in the 60s, it was the biggest thing that started in Kenya, and it trickled down to Zimbabwe, West. It's like the mother of all music, basically. So that's the genre that I want to bring back, you know. But it's for two things, basically: originality and the reach. So being in Kenya and also having a background from Malawi and also South Africa, I'm trying to do this Pan-African thing where the music can reach out to as many demographics as possible. You know, not just the young people, and not also just the old. It's trap, it's entertaining, it's exciting, it's fun, you know, it's entertaining. So that's what I really want to do, like just change the narrative, especially for hip hop artists. You know, we've seen the stereotype has been, as we said before. So just introducing something positive, introducing something mature as you're having fun. So that's basically my goal. My goal is just to reach out to the world and and just bring nice, good music, you know, but also entertain them with originality and the furthest of reach ever.
It's very important, absolutely, to like entertain but also educate. And motivate, and that's exactly what you're doing. So kudos on that. Tana, you know, when it comes to Kenyan creatives and some of the people that you've probably worked with, I know you've worked with some of the big names in the industry, Calligraph, for instance. Who is someone that you would love to collaborate with in future? Somebody that you are really looking forward to working with in Kenya?
Saudi Soul.
Of course.
Saudi Soul. I like the music. I like the influence. And Nyash. Because I've curtain raised for Oxo. We've worked with Kali, Wakadnali Pia, the Trappers. being in the background and just learning and just studying what they're doing and studying how the game is changing. So yeah, I would say Saudi Soul and Yash.
Nice. That's a very, I think, ideal choice because like these two, when you go for their concerts and you see the love that Kenyans have for them, and of course the talent as well, and the amount of effort and time, and it's just something else. You know that they were meant to do this, and that's what they're doing, right? So great choice there. And Tana, maybe you can tell us more about your upbringing in terms of, as you mentioned that you're born and brought up in Malawi. So in school, how were you? Were your parents always on your case? You said they were very supportive, which is amazing. But what did they expect of you in terms of your career and some of the things that you remember growing up, some of the life lessons that you've carried on to this date?
Yeah, I was a queer kid.
Really?
I was a queer kid. I was a weirdo. I was a dork. I was a geek. I think it's.
Were you always an A student?
Yeah, I was, until music now got the best of me.
Interesting.
Yeah, but so growing up, as I say, good morals and everything. So yeah, I was performing in school.
Okay.
But then I was too much into my head because I started writing the typical Eminem 8 Mile thing.
Oh yes.
That's how most artists are. We get engrossed in.
Inspired by the king himself.
Exactly. But now when I chose the path of music, I did have a wrangle with my folks, and for them to just being convinced that this is what I really want, because I was like an A-star student. Everything that would be given on the hands, I could deliver. But now the moment where I took my genius and focused into music, because music takes a lot of time. Just learning all those softwares, the Fruity Loops and the whatnot, and
were you self-trained or you actually went to school?
My dad did take me to learn piano instruments, but most of the work that I learned digitally and most of the stuff is I self-trained.
Well, that's amazing.
So 9-10 hours of the day you're just stuck on the PC. So, but we did come to a point when they started seeing now the results, because he always told me, my folks always told me, like, in whatever that you do, you give it 3 years, you give it deadlines, timing, and results. So the results justify everything. So in as much as if we could sit down and reason, okay, you want to pursue this career, so what is your goal? And I'll tell them, this is my aim, this is my target, and whatnot. And I was able to pioneer some music back home, and that is what actually got me here. I performed on the stage, and I was able to make something to come and contribute for my school. So when they started seeing the numbers racking in, they were very supportive. And I also, on that same point, I would really want to encourage a lot of artists to register, because this is music, it's intellectual property.
Yes.
It's not just a song. How do we earn from this? You could do a nice song today, and in years it becomes big. Just like the Safaricom idea thing.
Yes.
If we patent, so there's Camp, there's Prisk. I know there's been shade on MCSK, but it's good to register your work, and I did register in 2014, and it brings certain numbers. So the more you're getting exposed, the more your music is being played, you earn eventually. Things will
some gold advice there. Absolutely.
Before we go into the streaming lines and the distributors outside, let's be patriotic and love what the structures that the country has.
Love to hear it. All right, some great advice there from Tana P. Remember, he is an artist who is pretty versatile. He can do a lot of everything. I won't say a little of everything, but a lot of everything. And as we wrap up the interview, he's going to be performing one of my favorite numbers, Promised Land, coming up in a short while. So Cole Jax, are you ready with that? Yep, Cole Jax is ready. So, Tanapi, you ready for it? Take it away.
To the promised land, going to To the promised land, going to the promised land. To the promised land, going to the promised land. Do not be deceived, do a Kago man. Following his lead, he got awesome plans.
Yeah, to the promised land, on to the promised land. To the promised land, on to the promised land. Our brothers on the lead to the promised land. We got victory in the promised land.
Fire by the night,
cloud through the day.
Pharaoh out of sight,
manna on the fields.
So everything we need, Yahweh he provides. In the promised land, in the promised land. I'm on the black streets. I gotta grind to eat. Limited time to sleep. Look at my clock, predict beliefs. We want expensive things, making more while to pay these bills. Walking the talk is cheap, so whenever I holler the top is cheese. Believing in God, whatever the odds, faith go under the deeds. Keep it growing like a mustard seed, but only the mustard seed. Feed on the word, read. Take it your sword, slay sins. Sort of the world, we sort of like herbs, so that we taste sweet. They're all up a cloud, we finna sprout. While you be living in doubt. Ain't no more living in slavery, Pharaoh, I'm taking God's people up. Oh, you don't believe me, brother, Aaron, drop your stuff. I just come a mini stamp, but I'm rap, I'm representing the great I am. So 9 plagues for you, 9 plagues for you. Don't you harden up your heart, you gon' lose your son, bro. God is not playing with you, God is not playing with you. Let his people go and worship, you don't want faces rap. To the promised land, going to the promised land. To the promised land, going to the promised land. Do not be deceived, do a Kago man. Following his lead, he got awesome plans.
Yeah, to the promised land, on to the promised land. To the promised land, on to the promised land. Our brothers on the lead to the promised land. We got victory in the promised land.
Fire by the night,
cloud through the day.
Pharaoh out of sight,
manna on the fields.
So everything we need, Yahweh he provides. In the promised land, in the promised land. Sip from my own system, I know his rivers springing life. Living the wrong system, we're flowing in this dripping love. In 11 days, we reaching Canaan land of milk and honey. God's children, we taking dominion out of these rich, he gives us money. Kingdom Barbie swimming in this love that be our type of real. We come in the promised land, he give us a title deeds. Yeah, we got the keys like the mayor. In the kitchen, we been chicken with my mayo at. Led by the spirit, oka leg. So feeling like Moses on the need, Papa pay for miracles. Step out of Egypt like goodbye Pharaoh. All his soldiers are maybe ka instrument. Moses I make a Red Sea Kamakeko. Now he's training free manna from heaven for a breako. Out of Zion, homie we freeze, hot as Zion. Like a fire, he keep us lit and divide our battles, drop the giant. Jesus is king, he's the lamb and lion. I bet it's his temple, get the memo, Jesus defeated the devil. To the promised land, going to the promised land. To the promised land, going to the promised land. Do not be deceived, do a Kago man.